Hey everyone, host of Shelves, Jeremy Meyer here. If you like the podcast, I thought I'd recommend a couple others for you. If you want to hear more about unproduced scripts, check out Screenplay Archaeology. If you want to hear some other movie or entertainment related discussion, check out the Entertainment Buffet podcast. If you're interested in some video game discussion, check out my friends over at the Darkcast and darkstation.com. Also be sure to visit some of our friends of the show, the Nerds and Marks podcast and 616 Entertainment. Thank you, and enjoy the show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's year-end episode of the Shelved podcast. I am your host, Jeremy Meyer. Today it's going to be the last episode of the year, although this might actually be going up on the 1st, because I'm recording this on New Year's Eve, and I meant to record it earlier in the day and get it up today, but the way my schedule worked out and just my forgetfulness, I didn't get to sit down to record it until it's now like 7 o'clock. So, maybe I'll get it up tonight. That takes a lot of effort on this end because my computer with my editing software is not hooked up right now. So that I might have to like hook all that stuff up. But anyway, it's going to be a little bit of a special episode today, a short little year-end episode, and I don't really have a year-end review. Basically, the theme of 2018 is I want to try harder next year. I want to put out more episodes, and there's always that lull between October and the end of the year where my day job gets really busy, and I never bank enough episodes, and it's hard for me to put up episodes. But, I have a lot of plans for the new year, and a lot of things I want to start getting done, and I want to put more effort into the podcast. Hopefully I can free up some more time to be able to do that. And I also just need to work on my writing. Like, one of my goals is to finish a script I'm working on right now and by the end of January. So, and I think I can get that done. So, thoughts on the podcast overall this year are, I had some of my favorite episodes this year. Just a lot of feeling bad about missing stuff. So I think what I had this year was good, and I just hope I can put out more and better content next year. I also want to have some YouTube stuff next year for the people on the YouTube channel. I want to do some video content, maybe some kind of listy I actually created a list a while back of my top 50 movies of all time, which is, an ever-changing list, but that was like kind of hard and difficult to sit down and do. But I want to do stuff like that for the YouTube channel. So if you're not following Shell's podcast on YouTube, be sure to go check that out. But today it's going to be a really simple episode, and it's just going to be my top 10 movies of the year. And unfortunately this year I didn't see a lot of movies. Like, originally it was going to be a top 5 movies of the year list, but at the, towards the end of the year in December, I saw a couple more things, and kind of reevaluating my list. I did realize I did have 10 like solid movies that I really enjoyed this year. So I decided to actually blow it up and make it a top 10. And that's what we're going to go through now. And, I'll go through my 10 movies, and, there will probably be some spoilers on some of these, but I'll try to, give any kind of warning before spoiler stuff. Some of these, I won't have a ton to say, and some of these I'll probably have more to say. But why don't we start from the bottom here? So, my number 10 movie of 2018 is a video game movie, and that would be Tomb Raider. I am, I'm a big gamer, and I obviously a movie fan, and I love video game movies, mostly because some of them are good in my opinion, and some of them are bad but in a fun way. Some of them are incredibly frustrating, but this new Tomb Raider movie I actually thought was very good. I feel like it kind of flew under the radar. Like, it was successful enough, and I would like to see them do more, but my assumption is they won't because the movie didn't make $1 billion like they always hope it will. But it was a pretty modest success. And using what was that game, 2013, 2014, the Tomb Raider reboot game, whenever that came out, using that as the basis of your story, I think was a great idea because that game is good. And it's not a complete retelling of that story. It kind of just picks and chooses elements from that game to use for the movie and then tells its own story, which I think the story here is actually really good. And it all kind of comes into a twist ending, which is par for the course for this kind of thing. And it fits in that world, and it's not as big and grand of a scale as the video game. It kind of does have a low budget movie appeal to it, but it's not a low budget movie, but it kind of feels like one, and it manages to be, I think, a entertaining movie. It has a couple cheesy, hokey moments in it that I think most video game movies go a little too hard on and suffer from. So to me, it was a 4 out of 5, but it was a good, enjoyable movie, and in my opinion is in the top 5 video game movies of all time, which isn't a hard list to make, but I definitely think it's in there and it belongs in there, and it's a fun movie. And if you are a fan of the games, I recommend checking out the movie. And don't expect the world, don't expect too much. Go in knowing it is a video game movie, but it is one of the better ones that exists. So that's my number 10. Moving on to number 9. And honestly, I wasn't sure if this movie was going to make it on my list, but my number 9 is Solo: A Star Wars Story. And it's really weird to me to have a Star Wars movie so low because, and over the last year, we have had kind of the Star Wars backlash coming of the fucking remake The Last Jedi bullshit, and everybody shitting on The Last Jedi, and then Solo being basically a box office bomb. It's not a great Star Wars movie, but it's a good Star Wars movie, and a good Star Wars movie to me is still better than half the movies out there. I liked it. I didn't love it, but I liked it enough to put it on my list towards the bottom. It's a totally well-made, competent movie. It was much better than I expected, especially since I didn't see it in the theater. I saw it way later on Blu-ray. So I kind of had the expectations of what everybody was saying about the movie in the back of my mind the whole time. And, yeah, I don't know. I ended up having a good time with it. The actor who played Han Solo, who I'm totally blanking on his name right now, did a much better job than I expected, and I actually liked him in the movie. And I liked the kind of tone and feeling of the movie of this is a small story. We're not trying to save the universe. It is just, here's a story that's taking place in the Star Wars underworld. And, the cast is all super great. What's his name? Donald Glover was kind of the show stealer. Him as Lando was really good, and I do hope we kind of get more movies with them. But when you reshoot your entire movie, obviously things are going to be affected, and I did see some complaints about oh, this movie is super dark. The lighting in this movie is really bad, and I do agree. Looking back on it, it's oh man, there are some really dark scenes here. They should have got a better lighting team. I will say to me, the biggest fault of the movie is that the way I've been putting it is I watched it, I enjoyed my time with it, but overall there's nothing really memorable about it. I would definitely watch it if it was on, or if somebody was hey, do you want to watch Solo? I'd be yeah, sure. But it's not one I'm gonna throw on a lot. And the Kessel Run, as epic as that should have been, to me, just I don't even really remember much about it. But I have watched it twice since it came out, and I enjoy it. It's an unnecessary movie, but it kept me entertained while I watched it. So that's kind of the best things I have to say about it. So yeah, moving on. My number 8, and I know a lot of other people have this much higher on their lists, and I love this movie. It was a 5 out of 5 for me, which I'm pretty sure every movie on my list at this point is. Oh no, there's one that's a 4 out of 5, but it's a good 4 out of 5. Is Black Panther. Marvel's Black Panther. I saw this movie very late. I bought the Blu-ray when it came out. I missed it in the theater. I bought the Blu-ray when it came out, and I sat on it for a while, and then I finally sat down and watched it, and I loved it. I thought it was great. I definitely did think it was a little overblown for me. Like, as much as I loved the character of Black Panther in Civil War, I thought he was much more interesting there than in his own movie. And to me, Michael B. Jordan did steal the show in every scene he was in. Same with Andy Serkis, and when those guys are on screen together, it's like electrifying almost. But honestly, like, I thought some of the CG at the end was kind of weak, like the scene of them fighting in the Underground Railroad and all that. I don't know. To me, it looked off, and I know maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe it looks so good it just looks bad to my eye. But to me, I thought the CG was a little lacking. But the story is great, and I definitely think Michael B. Jordan is the one that stands above everyone else in this movie. He is one of the best Marvel villains, definitely in the top 5, because he's correct. He's a bad guy who is right in his thinking. It's just his plan of execution is what makes him a bad guy. And honestly, I just thought like the story arc of T'Challa is just not that interesting. It's weird that in the Black Panther movie, Black Panther was like the weakest part for me, aside from like the action obviously was great, but yeah, it's just, to me, Michael B. Jordan stole the show. And I love what this movie did for its community and everything, and I hope it gets like Oscar recognition, because it's weird to think no Marvel movies ever won an Oscar, especially for like special effects. But if this one doesn't win like score or costume, my mind will be blown. So I guess that's all I really have to say about Black Panther. It's a great movie. I can't wait to see what they do next. Ryan Coogler is a fantastic director, and I wish he could have done Creed 2, because then maybe that movie would have been better. But yeah, I can't wait to see what he does with the next one. So my number 7, which is maybe the only new comedy I saw this year, but is by far the best comedy I've seen in the last few years, Game Night. And I don't have a lot to say about this movie, but because it's kind of hard to describe a comedy, but I just thought this movie was incredibly hilarious. I thought the story was fun and unique enough. Like, it really has like a Horrible Bosses feel to it. And if you didn't like Horrible Bosses, maybe you won't like this, but I think this is probably a better comedy than Horrible Bosses. But it feels within that caliber of humor. And, I really like both of these movies. But Game Night is one of the funniest movies I've seen in a while. Maybe since the first Horrible Bosses, honestly. Because I feel like comedy's been kind of a lacking genre for a while. But this movie's great. And if you haven't seen it, you 100% should see it. Again, I saw it pretty late. Somebody threw it on at work, and I just kind of was watching. I was like, oh man, this, like, I'd been wanting to see this movie, but god damn, this movie's hilarious. And now it's one that's like I need to have on my shelf, and I haven't bought it yet, and I really need to. So number 7 is Game Night, best comedy of the year. Highly recommend it. My number 6 was a bit of a late entry into the movies this year, and it was a movie that I took my wife to the theaters to see, just kind of expecting, this is a movie for her, and I'll eat my popcorn, and she'll love her movie, and everybody will be happy. But I ended up loving this movie, and I never saw the original, but the best way I can describe this movie, like the word that comes to mind when I think about it, is just delightful. And that movie is Mary Poppins Returns. And I've never seen the original Mary Poppins. I have no like reference to it other than what's kind of out there in pop culture. And this movie was really fucking good. The music was really good. There's only like one song in the movie that I didn't really like. But Emily Blunt was fantastic as Mary Poppins. It was funny. It was adorable. And the music was just like, I had a big stupid smile on my face the whole time I watched it, thinking like, man, they just don't make movies like this anymore. Yeah, I mean, if you love that old movie, there's no reason why you wouldn't love this one. And, Lin-Manuel Miranda in there with doing the music, I assume he had a hand in like creating the music. I assume they wouldn't just bring him in to sing and dance and stuff, but he does do all of that super well. And another thing I'll say about this movie is it is the best case for a new Roger Rabbit, because there is a scene in the middle of this movie where it is a mixture of live action and animation, and it looks incredible. And the animation is like old school looking hand drawn animation, although it's probably CG. Maybe they actually did hand draw it, but it looks amazing. And there's like a scene where a kid's being taken away in a carriage, and the carriage is a cartoon, but the kid is real, and just the way they all blend together seamlessly looks incredible. And the entire time during that sequence, all I was thinking was, holy shit, they need to make a new Roger Rabbit, because it would look incredible now. So, maybe that can be a way to get you to go see the movie. But, yeah, Mary Poppins Returns it's number 6. And originally, honestly, it was my number 5. But then I remembered this other movie that came out, so it got bumped down. But, I highly recommend. It's generally not my type of movie, but it was a lot of fun. So go see Mary Poppins Returns, still in the theaters. I highly recommend it. So number 5 was a movie I had almost forgotten, but because it came out like in early January, and its release was what it was, they totally fumbled it. But number 5 is Annihilation, and I remember when this movie came out, and the guys over at Red Letter Media did the review, and it's something that stuck with me is, where the fuck was everybody when this movie came out? Like, in the year of like Me Too and all this stuff, is like, here's a movie with 5 female leads, and it's like a big budget movie, and nobody's sitting here pointing out like, oh, look at how all of our leads are female. Like, the movie just like, these are just characters doing their job. And it was fucking amazing, and nobody went to go see it. Like, I don't understand. Alex Garland directed this movie, and he directed Ex Machina, which is one of my favorite movies from a few years back. And I will watch anything this guy does. And what he made here is one of the most just like hauntingly beautiful movies of the year. It is a little more of a mental, cerebral movie. One you kind of have to think about a little bit, and it's a movie that has been in my head for the entire year since I've seen it. Like, I routinely think of moments in this movie. The scene with the bear is maybe one of the most terrifying moments in a horror movie in years, and I don't want to like spoil it, but if you know what I'm talking about, you maybe agree with me. But Annihilation is a fantastic movie, and the music, I actually like bought the score for this movie, and the music is just incredible, and like the song at the end just like haunted my life for a while, and like I was listening to it as I was working, and it was just giving me anxiety because I was just remembering the scene in the movie, because the music is very distinct. And one thing I will say is there's imagery in this movie that's just like, oh, they need to give Alex Garland a Last of Us movie if they ever want to actually make that movie based on the video game. Like, he kind of nailed it in this movie already. So I would, if they ever get around to that, I would like to see them give it to him, because he can do a great fucking job with it. I love this movie. I think everybody needs to see it. It is based on a book and is kind of completely different from the book. And like the ending is like, it was a thing I had to like go and read up on and kind of, learn about a little bit. But Annihilation is a fantastic fucking movie. It's a horror movie that everybody needs to see, like horror sci-fi, I guess. But yeah, the last half hour of that movie is maybe the best thing put to screen this year. It's really hard to think of anything that like struck me as much. Well, maybe in my number 1 movie, but we'll get there. But it's hard to think of anything that struck me as much as that last half hour of Annihilation. So let's move on to my number 4, which is maybe the most out of left field pick of the entire list, because it is a Paul Feig film that came out this year, and his recent track record wasn't the best, as was Ghostbusters his last movie, maybe. But he has done Bridesmaids and other movies that are really good and are movies that people like. I took my wife to see a movie that she wanted to see, And again, this was the one where I thought the trailer looked interesting, but I mostly thought it would be a movie just for her. And we ended up seeing it twice in the theater because she loved it so much and I loved it. That movie is called A Simple Favor. And it's a movie with Blake Lively and Anna Kendrick. And I've kind of been describing it as like, it's similar to Gone Girl, but with a more comedic tone. But I don't want to say this movie is a comedy because it's not a comedy. It is a drama. It just happens to have some funny moments in it. A lot of it coming from Blake Lively in the early parts of the film is just this like foul-mouthed, like alcoholic mother. And like the whole setup is Anna Kendrick is a mother, like a single mother to a child, and her kid is friends with Blake Lively's kid, and they kind of get forced together, and they start to become friends. But then one day Blake Lively just goes missing, and it's all about what happened to her. And it's a really great movie. I've seen it twice. I bought it for my wife. It just came out before Christmas. I bought the Blu-ray for her, and I'm actually excited to watch it again. Because first of all, I love movies like that with like a mystery and stuff. And I just didn't expect it to be as funny as it is. And honestly, Blake Lively is just bringing it in this movie. She's clearly having the most fun she's ever had in a movie. And it's worth seeing just for that alone. But on top of it, the story is really great. When it is funny, it's really funny. Yeah, even though it's kind of like the comedy is used for like stingers on scenes. It's not like a slapstick comedy movie. It's not like Game Night. The tone of the movie is more of a drama and a mystery, and it is like a murder mystery. Like, did she get murdered? Did she get kidnapped? Like, what's going on? But it is a movie that does kind of walk that line very well. The ending, it gets a little more comedic, like maybe a little too much, but it all works, and I really ended up loving this movie, and I feel like it deserves its place on the list. I'm not even saying it's like better than all the movies before it, but it was definitely one of the bigger surprises, and I think deserves the recognition. All right, so now I'm into the top 3 here, and this was a big debate for me as to where, like, I knew these were my top 3 movies of the year, but it was just a in what order was I going to place them? And honestly, in my mind, they're all tied for first, but I had to pick an order. So start with my number 3, which was the last movie I saw this year, and that was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Which, holy shit, this is an amazing movie. It's one of the best Spider-Man movies. I mean, the general consensus of this movie has been it's great, it makes you cry. It's the best Spider-Man movie. It's one of the best Marvel movies, and I wouldn't argue with any of that. I didn't cry watching it. I almost did a couple times. It's not my favorite Spider-Man movie. Spider-Man 2 still holds that title for me, but it is definitely probably the second best Spider-Man movie. And it is one of the best Marvel movies for sure. The animation is just incredible. Like, I couldn't stop looking at the screen. The casting is amazing. Nicolas Cage as Spider-Man Noir kind of steals every scene he's in. And John Mulaney as Spider-Ham is incredible. Like, John Mulaney's been one of my favorite comedians for years now. And it's like awesome to see him get all this success, and then to now see him like in a big Marvel movie as one of the best characters. And I know they're talking about doing a ton of like spin-offs and maybe even a cartoon series of this, and I hope they give John Mulaney more Spider-Ham, because that is such a great, ridiculous character, and they do it so well. Like, there's every time they introduce a new like Spider-Man in the movie, they do the little, okay, like here's the catching up of the story, and they give you their like origin. And there's a great one because they're doing Spider-Ham, Spider-Man Noir, and one of the other ones, I think it's the anime one. They're doing their origins at the same time, and they all start, I got bit by a radioactive spider, but you hear John Mulaney like, I got bit by a radioactive pig, and like it stands out. Like, oh, it's so funny, and I love this movie. The story is incredible, and I am a big fan of the Miles Morales Spider-Man, so it's great to see him finally get his due in like a movie or like even a TV show. I know they've featured him, I think, in the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon, but this is what he deserved, like his own movie. And it's not, the same as the comics. They have changed quite a bit, but it's like taking that version of the story and just putting it in a blender, and what comes out is still the same. It's just a little different. But it works just as well and just as effectively as the story in the comics did. And if you haven't seen Into the Spider-Verse, you 100% need to go see it, because it's incredible. It's amazing, and I can't say enough good things about it. The music is also, like, the hip hop flair to the movie just works on so many levels. And the scene where I guess slight spoiler here, the scene where Miles Morales finally like becomes Spider-Man, somebody like reposted it on Twitter, and watching it the second time almost brought tears to my eyes. Like, it's maybe one of the best moments in a superhero movie, and like it's so well done with the music and everything. It's one of the best movies of the year, and I fucking loved it so much. And that brings us to our number 2, which is another superhero movie, which everybody can probably guess at this point, is Avengers Infinity War. And what is there to say about this movie that hasn't already been said like a million times? I mean, the Avengers Infinity War review is one of my most viewed episodes for the year. So I know anyone listening to the podcast has probably heard my thoughts on that movie, and I brought on a couple other friends to talk about it as well. So if you want some in-depth listening, go listen to the Avengers Infinity War review. But it's fucking great, and it's a movie that shouldn't have worked and totally works. And I've watched it 7 or 8 times this year, and for sheer number of times I've watched a movie, it should probably be my number 1. But it's just so good and fun, and even though it is a bleak, depressing movie, and they do dark better than DC does, it's I don't know, it's delightful to see a movie of this scale, and to have been watching for all these years, and to see what it's built up to is just crazy. And some amazing moments, and just things I like. It's the movie I just would throw on at random points in the year. Like, I love watching the opening 45 minutes of just kind of the opening scene, and then the battle inside New York until they go up into space. Like, I love that whole section of the movie. And then the fight with Thanos is maybe one of the most memorable fights in any kind of Marvel movie, and just the way that all plays out, and how Star-Lord is such an asshole that you just fucking hate him for what he does. And it's great. I mean, the ending is something that has, I assume, stuck with everybody. And it'll be interesting to see what they do in the next one. Like, obviously, they're going to undo what they did in some way, shape, or form. But obviously, with the next movie, things are going to be different. Characters are going to leave. And how are they going to leave? Is there going to be any lasting death in the movie? I guess we'll see. And I actually just got Ant-Man and the Wasp on Blu-ray. I haven't watched it yet, but gonna actually maybe do that over this holiday break. Maybe watch it tomorrow. But yeah, Avengers Infinity War, it's incredible. And I just encourage everybody to go listen to the full review I did if you want to hear a more in-depth talk. And I'm also going to have to do a separate, more in-depth discussion about my number 1 movie, because it's a movie I don't want to say anything about. I just want you to see it, because this was a movie that was my most anticipated movie all year, just based on the trailer. I saw it, I think, in January or something. And it was the movie I was or I might have even seen it late last year. I can't remember. But it was a movie I was anticipating, and I just wanted it to be as good as the trailer was, because the trailer was amazing. And that movie is Hereditary. And I never would have thought a horror film would be my number 1 movie of the year. As much as I love horror movies, they're generally not my favorite movies of the year. But this movie is just wow. Again, I don't want to spoil it. There's a moment that happens in the first half hour of the movie that I literally yelled Jesus out loud at my TV, and then I was just left uncomfortable for the entire rest of the movie. And I want to give you that warning. um, I gave my Voodoo account to a coworker so he could watch it, and we're watching it at work. And I can see his like spot. He's the guy who ships all the packages, so he just sits there and watches stuff as he stuffs envelopes and packages and stuff. And I just am like working, and I just hear him go, "Jesus Christ," from like across the room, and I just look over at him and nod, and he's just like, "What the fuck?" And it is the scariest movie I've seen in a long time. Like, movies don't really scare me anymore. I've desensitized myself enough that it takes a lot for a horror movie to scare me. But Hereditary is the fucking scariest movie I've seen in years. And it's not even so much that it's scary, it's that just like a sense of dread that like is so effective. And I've discovered the imagery that is the most creepy to me is something that you can just barely make out in the dark, and this movie does that super well. The most I will say is watch the initial trailer for the movie and then go in with that, or if you can, go in blind, but just know that this movie is gonna fuck you up early on, and then it's just gonna leave you in that feeling for a long time. And just has like one of the most twisted endings I've seen in a movie in a long time. It's really fucking good. And like the thing, like on top of it just being like a really effective horror movie, just like from a filmmaking standpoint, it's amazing. The writing is super great. The camera work is awesome. There's some like really interesting editing and like special effects shots that are just like some of the best I've ever seen. It's like a filmmaking tour de force on top of being one of the scariest movies ever made. I don't want to say anything else. Like, I would like to bring in some people to do like a group discussion about this movie maybe one day. But in the meantime, just know that Hereditary was my number one movie of 2018. And that's going to do it for my list. So just kind of do a little roundup starting from the bottom. Number 10 was Tomb Raider. Number 9, Solo, A Star Wars Story. Number 8, Marvel's Black Panther. Number 7, Game Night. Number 6, Mary Poppins Returns. Number 5, Annihilation. Number 4, A Simple Favor. Number 3, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Number 2, Marvel's Avengers Infinity War. And number 1 is Hereditary. And that's going to be it for my top 10 films of 2018. I would really like to hear what movies you like this year. I will say, as an honorable mention, Sorry to Bother You, which is maybe the most absurdly and wonderfully strange movie I have ever seen. It was really, really good. It just didn't make my top 10. Obviously, this is also an incomplete list. There are a number of movies I wanted to see this year that I just did not get to see. 2018 was kind of a really bad year for me personally. It's just like a lot of stuff going on, and just didn't get a lot of chances to go to the theater. I'll also give a shout out to Deadpool 2, which I thought was like, just only slightly less good than the first one. Still a great movie, but the first one I thought was way better. Like movies I still need to see. I'm kind of pulling up the list of 2018 movies here. I didn't get to see A Star Is Born. I didn't get to see Black Klansman. I saw part of, like, we watched Mission Impossible Fallout at work, but we didn't have like the audio on, so I kind of like saw a lot of the movie and kind of picked up a lot of it, and it seems amazing, but I just haven't gotten a chance to actually like sit down and watch it properly. But I'm sure if I had, that would have probably been on my list. I really wouldn't need to see the new Halloween. I have not seen that yet. I just got the movie Red Sparrow I need to see, which I heard was kind of but I still want to see it. I need to see Upgrade. That looked really great. I did watch the Cloverfield Paradox, and that was really not great. I did watch The Predator. That was also very not great. There was another one I wanted to see. I need to see First Man. That's like kind of one I was like, ooh, this would probably be in my top 5, but I have not seen it. I also need to see A Quiet Place. Again, heard it's fantastic. Just haven't seen it. And another movie I was like super anticipating, but like apparently just didn't do super crazy business because it kind of just came and went, was Bad Times at the El Royale, which has like a 70% on Rotten Tomatoes. So, it seems like it's probably pretty good, but I really want to see that movie and just didn't get around to it. See, Creed 2, Overlord, Apostle, that's a Netflix film. These are TV shows. This shouldn't even be on the list. Yeah, those are kind of the ones that I like. Those are the movies that are like, oh man, these are on my list. I need to see them and just haven't gotten to see them yet. I did watch The Night Comes for Us, but we watched it at work, and it's it's a subtitled movie. I wasn't able to sit and pay attention to all the subtitles, but what I watched, like visually, what I saw of that movie was amazing. So I need to give that another watch, and I would say just go ahead and give that one a watch as well. But yeah, Vice just came out. I need to see that. Bird Box, everyone's talking about. I need to see that. Kind of just cruising Letterboxd here, looking at movies, just kind of like, if there's a movie like, oh, you didn't see this or this wasn't on your list, like, yeah, these are the ones I didn't see and that I plan on seeing, I really want to see. But I think that's pretty much it here. So yeah, those are the ones I still need to get to. Incredibles 2, that's another one. Need to see that. But yeah, those are the ones I need to see, and hopefully I'll get to them. Also recently have been doing a marathon of the Halloween movies. Because I, very much anticipating the new one. The original Halloween, I think, is one of the best horror movies of all time. And I realized there were some Halloween movies I had never seen. Mostly ones in the middle. I had never seen all of 4. I had never seen 5. I saw 6 a long time ago. Didn't really remember anything about it. I never saw Resurrection. But I borrowed the Blu-rays from a coworker, and I have been making my way through them, and I'm on 7 now, which is H2O, which I remember really liking. It was one of the first ones I saw when it was new. But I'm gonna marathon all the Halloween movies, and then I'm gonna see the new one, which by the time I'm finished that one, I should be able. I think you can buy it on iTunes right now. So, yeah, I'll be watching those and doing like a whole franchise review probably. But that'll be just like a fun side episode. But that's going to be it. And I just want to take the time to thank everybody who listened throughout 2018 or who was, willing to come on the show. I did some interviews this year. I am hopefully going to be doing some more interviews next year. I'm going to be bringing on some more friends to talk about some scripts and to talk about their interesting lives and jobs. And I hope I can give some of my best in 2019. And I just want to thank everybody who has stuck around and is going to continue to stick around. And here's to 2019. And it's New Year's as I record this, so happy New Year to everyone. I hope you had a good New Year's. Hope it was safe. Don't go out there and be that asshole. But yeah, that's going to be it. So thank you everybody for listening. And we'll see you in 2019, or maybe you're already hearing this in 2019. I really just need to end the episode, don't I? So, thanks everybody for listening, and I will see you on the next episode.